To create a new assembly, as usual, you have to press Ctrl plus N, or you can create a new assembly using this new button also. So when we click on that, we have three options here: part, assembly, and drawing. We have seen the part features in our previous sessions. We will be seeing assembly in today and tomorrow, and in our further 2-3 sessions we will be having sessions for for the drawing. So let's go to the assembly, click on the OK, and the assembly window opens. Okay, give me a minute. Let me change the color of software to white.
Abara, time netra.
Okay, now you see when we press Ctrl plus N and click on the assembly, you can see this pop-up appears, and in this it will ask us to enter or to open the first part in the assembly. Now let's see the introduction of the commands. We have this much of tab here. In the assembly tab, we have insert component. In that drop down, we can create a new part, we can create new assembly. We have copy with mates. Second option is mate. Mate is like the constraint in our sketching and in our 3D design. Okay, we now have linear component pattern, we have circular pattern, we have pattern driven pattern, we have sketch pattern, mirror pattern, we have smart fastener, move component, rotate component, and all of these bill of material, exploded view, and all. In the layout, we have some sketch related functions. In the sketch, also same. In the evaluate, we have interference detection, clearance verification, hole alignment, measurement, mass properties, and all. We have SolidWorks add-in here. We have MBD here. In the assembly, we mostly will be having our more focus in the assembly tools and in the evaluation tools. Okay. Now to insert our very first part, for that you click on this and the pop-up will open. Now let us create some basic part to insert in the assembly. Now as usual, I'll create some basic geometry for our part. As you can see, I have made a sketch, actually a center rectangle with a 200 mm length and 150 mm width. Now I'm going to extrude it, and as you can see, I am using a mid plane feature with width of 50, actually 80 mm. Okay. Now I am assigning it a material brass. Okay, and I am saving it on the desktop. I'm giving it name lock. Okay, now block has saved. You close this part and open a new part. In this case, I'll create one more part, circle of 50 mm diameter. I made center of circle and origin coincident using our relational constraints so that it becomes fully constant. Now I'm extruding this circle up to the length of 110 mm, let's say. Okay, in the mid plane option. Okay, now I'm giving it material copper, giving it using cylinder. Okay, one thing I forgot to create a hole in this, so I'm making a hole in this block of 50 mm. You can see I will use through all option. You can see I have created a hole in that. Now pressing Ctrl 7 for isometric and Ctrl S for saving. Now let's create a new assembly once again, and you can see the pop-up appears, and we have our file explorer, so we can choose parts according to our directory of storage and all. As we have parts on our desktop, so I'm going to desktop and I will insert my first part, that will be block. So select block and click on open. So you can see you have box now on your cursor. So the shortcut is that when you click in the this field, you can see, let's say I click here, left click, the block will be placed there. But the point here is that you can see we have our origin here and our part here. You can see, let me show you these planes. You can see we have our center planes here and part here. So our part is not as center. As we have clicked outside, so the part is at not at the center. Okay. Now let me delete it and add the same part once again to show you how to add it at origin. You do not have to click while adding the first part, directly hit the OK button. And when you hit OK button directly, you can see the origin of part and origin of our assembly is same. Okay, now I'm hiding these three planes, and always remember, when you insert the first part, it will be indicate in the tree as F. F means the part is fixed in this place. As every time you add a first part to the assembly, it will be fixed automatically. When you click outside, it will be saved at that location. When you directly hit the OK, it will be at origins location. Okay, now let's add the second component using a insert component. Okay, now we are adding a cylinder. Now you can see we have cylinder here, but in this case I will not hit OK, because when I hit OK, it will be automatically in the center. So I'll hit outside. You can see we have outside this, and you can see the minus sign here. The minus sign indicates that it is free to move. And also in the bottom bar you can see assembly is underdefined. Basically, let's see the what is the theory behind assembly. Sorry, and what are the approaches to create a assembly now. Okay, now as you can see, assembly modeling is the process of creating designs that consist of two or more components assembled together at their respective work position. Okay, so in the assembly we will be having two more or lots of components assembled together so that they can work together, they have their relative motions and all. So the component brought together and assembled by applying suitable parametric assembly constraints. Constraints here uh, in the SolidWorks we call them as mate. Okay, so usually this is the interface for our assembly. Insert component mate, we already have seen that. Now let's see the approaches for assembly modeling. We usually have top down assembly approach and we have bottom up assembly approach. In the top down assembly, blank assembly file is created, and in that blank assembly file we create parts one by one and assemble them. Okay, and in the bottom up assembly, it is a traditional approach. We create each part individually, insert the part in the assembly, and we constrain them or we fix them. Okay, now here we have followed the second approach, that is bottom up approach. Okay, we have created two parts separately and inserted them in the assembly. Now let's pause this for a minute and let's have a look for the first approach. Again we are creating a assembly file, blank assembly file, and we are not adding any part. We are clicking here, and in that we click on new part, and in the new part you can see we have created part 3. Part 3 is a blank part. You can see it is a blank part. So in this case we can sketch here, let's say simple cylinder of 100 mm diameter, and we extrude it to, let's say, 200. In the middle plane, let's say 300. Okay, and we saved it, and as we close it you can see we have our part number 3 in the assembly. Now again we can create a new part, and you can see we have our part number 4, and we go to open part. We go to open part number 4, open part. Here we click on that, and you can see blank part will open, and again we can sketch here. So in this case I'll be extruding the sketch. Okay, so now we have to save it and close it. You can see we have both the part fixed and this is the assembly of two parts. So this is the first approach, that is top down approach, and in this case this is a second approach, that is bottoms up approach. In the 90% of cases you will be following this second approach because it is easy to understand and easy to imagine. So in our tutorial time, in our training time, we will be also following this type of approach only. Okay, so as you can see, we have our rectangular block with a hole at center at the origin, and this is fixed. So when you try to drag it, you can see the selected component is fixed, it cannot be moved, so that it says that it is fixed. Okay, and now when you try to move the cylindrical block, it is free to move because there is a minus sign and we did not add any relations to it. So to add relations to it, again we have two options. We can select this face by pressing Ctrl and this face, suppose, and we have our pop-up here. We have parallel, we have perpendicular, tangent, concentric. This is a shortcut method one, but as you are learning this for first time, I will tell you both the ways. So in the first way, you can click on mate, and in this box you can select the two faces which we want to make concentric. So let's say this face and this face. Now you can see the face is now concentric. Now when you hit OK, you can see we have our we have our cylindrical block inside the rectangular block, but it is able to move in this direction now, and also it is able to rotate freely. So we only have one constraint to it. Now let me increase the length of it. You can direct increase the length of any part, change the dimension by double clicking it in the assembly mode. Okay, so now we have added concentric mate to it. Now we will be fixing this rotation by using the further mates. Now we will see coincident, parallel, perpendicular, tangent, unlock one by one. So now you can go to mates here and you can adjust, delete, move, copy them from here. So I am currently deleting the concentric mate. Now you can see when I deleted concentric mate, I can freely move it. So let's go to mate. Let's first see the coincident mate. Now suppose a condition where I want to coincident this face along with this face. Okay, now let's select those two faces. Now you can see we have the two faces are coincident. Now we have this option here to change its alignment. So in that case, suppose we click on the first type, you can see those are coincident, but in the this bottom side, and when you click on the this side, you can see these are in opposite direction. Both bodies are in opposite direction. So it is on the our situation of design what type of alignment we keep. So now we have this face coincident, so it will only move in this direction, not in the upward direction. Okay, now let's see the parallel face. Give me a second. Okay, now for the parallel, you click on the parallel here. We select, let me delete the coincident one first. Now suppose we want this face and this face to be parallel only, but not the coincident. So now go to mate, select the parallel one, click on this face, click on this face, click OK. Now you can see we have both face parallel, but those are not coincident. So now let's see our next mate type, which is, I guess, perpendicular. Yes, perpendicular. So select perpendicular here, go to the box and select those both faces. You can see we have both the faces perpendicular. Sorry, there is something mistake, I guess. Yeah, this is the these are the both faces, those are highlighted in colors. Okay, now let's see the next type, which is tangent. Suppose I want this top face tangent to this circular face. I'll select both, and you can see automatically it will select the tangent menu and click OK. You can see it will be automatically tangent to that. Okay, now our next one is concentric. So you select concentric, and for the concentric one, the both the faces should be circular. So we click on circular, and you can see you have this small box here for locking its rotation along the axis of rotation. And also we have alignment option here. We can change its alignment. You can see that. So I am also locking its rotation here. Now you can see it will be only moving in this direction and it will be not rotating. Okay, so to fix that this motion also, you can select this face. You can go to mate, select this face and this face, and it will be coincident. Now you can see assembly is fully defined. Now you can see the minus sign has been removed, and you can see by dragging also. So now you have your 2-3 minutes so that you can create two basic parts like this, and try to give the basic mates of coincident, concentric, tangent, parallel, like that, and revert me within 2-3 minutes. Okay, now you have your time.
Sir, I have a small doubt, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, if we are not constraining the parts like with the origin, will it make any trouble in assembly, sir?
Actually, it will not make any trouble, but see, when you mirror it, when you want to give some relations with respect to the our standard three planes, so it will create trouble in that. But it's not like that. It is just a time saving trick. So suppose you place your part outside the origin, it is just that you have to create planes there at the your location of part so that you can give reference according to that place. Okay.
Okay, sir, fine.
Okay. So now please try that, adding the constraints. Have you tried, guys, or are you trying to do that? Speak up, guys. You can raise your hand. You have your chat box. You have mic.
Sir, hello.
Yes.
Sir, can you repeat how to constrain the part at the origin, sir? Correctly at the origin.
Correctly at the origin. When you click on the part in your file explorer and click on the open, you just have to click the OK sign in the assembly. Now let me repeat that. You can see, let me create a new assembly. You can see, let's say I want to add this yellow block at the origin. I click on open here and just I have to click on OK here. It will be automatically added to origin. You can see the origin is highlighted in blue color. Okay. Okay, so I guess we should proceed now. Okay, so I hope you have tried the basic constraints. Now
So
yes,
I can't constrain the part to the center, sir. Like where I have to click the OK button.
you have OK button, right? Let's say how to clear this. You have this block, you have open bar. See this, are you able to see that?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. So when we move the cursor from away from the box, we can. Okay, fine, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. So now we have seen the mates. Actually, the mates here, the mates are of three types. Let me add our second part. We have three types of mates here. We have standard mates, we have advanced mate, and we have mechanical mates. You can see advanced mate and mechanical mates here. So we'll see them in our today's lecture. Okay, so are the all mates clear to everyone? Coincident, tangent, perpendicular, parallel, all of this. Okay. Do insert, right, sir. Okay then. So now let's see the linear component pattern. Okay. Let me change the size of this. Now I'll add a mate so that this copper block should be coincident on this. Okay. And also I'll add some distance mate to it. Okay. So we will now see the linear component pattern. In the linear component pattern, it is same as our pattern in the 3D in our feature part tab. Okay. In this case also we have direction 1, we have direction 2. We can select the edges here. We have components to pattern. In this case, let's say I selected this. Now in the direction 1, when I increase the number of instances to 20 and I reverse the direction, you can see the 20 instances. We have distance here. So let's say 80 mm, let's say 100 mm. So you can see we have 20 instances at a distance of 100 mm each. Okay. Same in the direction 2, we can add the number of instances and also the distance between them. Let's say 205. Okay. Now you see the similar feature here, instances to click skip. When you click to this box, pink color points will appear, and as you click on those, you will be able to skip those instances. And as you click on OK, you can see we have our linear pattern here. Okay. Now go for the circular pattern. Now let me mate this according to our example. You can see the most easy way to add the constraint is select the two faces, select the two required faces, let's say this and this, and you will have a pop-up menu, and you can just click on the required mate and it will be automatically constrained. Okay, now this is fixed. Now let's go to the circular pattern. In the circular pattern, we have direction 1, and components to pattern, we have direction 2 also. In the direction 1, let's say we select this edge. In the components to pattern, we have our this, and we have instances here. Or also, if we click on equal spacing, it will be spaced into equal manner. Okay, it is same as the our part features. Okay, now you guys try the linear pattern and the circular pattern. Till then, I will create a example to explain you the pattern driven component pattern. Now you have your 2-3 minutes to try these two features. Okay. Have you tried, guys? Do you have any doubts in the mates, in the linear pattern, in the circular pattern? Okay, now let's go to the next type, pattern driven component pattern. So for that, let me share my screen. Let me insert a cylindrical block here. Okay, now you can see I have my yellow block with the hole, and also I have my cylindrical block. Now we will be seeing pattern driven component pattern. Okay, so now for pattern driven component pattern, you must have pattern in your uh, parent parts or in your parts in the assembly. So now let's create a pattern in this block in the part file only. Okay, so to open any part from the assembly, you click on that part and you see the first option, open part here. So click on that, those part will be open. Now we are creating a linear part here. We will be selecting our feature as this, cut extrude, and you can see I have to change the direction. Now I have this 8 holes pattern in my base file of part. I saved it and I click exit. Now you can see the change immediately occurs in the assembly. Now to have the pattern driven component pattern, I have to mate this in the first hole. Okay, now I have this in the first hole. Now let's say I want this in the all of the holes. So we will not insert it manually each time and give the constraint each time. What we'll do, we'll go to pattern driven component pattern, select the components to pattern, and we'll select the driving feature, this, and you can see the preview that all the instances have the preview of cylindrical block. Again, we have our instances to skip feature here. We can again skip one or two. Click on OK. Now you can see all the holes are filled up by cylinder. Now this is very smart tool you can use in your assemblies. Okay, now what we will see the mirror components here. Okay, Let me add a reference plane for mirror here. Okay. So I have this plane for my reference here. So now in the mirror components, it is same. We have to select the mirror plane, and in the component to mirror, you just have to select the component and go to next here. You can see we have mirror of our component. You can now see we have mirrored this yellow block. Now you try these two commands, mirror component and sketch driven pattern. Till that time I'll create another example for you to show you the sketch driven component pattern. Okay, till that time you can try those. Have you tried those commands, friends? Please guys, be interactive. Otherwise you will feel sleepy. Okay. Did you actually tried, or you are just becoming silent like that? Okay. Now let's go to the next command, that is sketch pattern. So for the sketch pattern, like our earlier one, component pattern, pattern driven pattern, for that we required pattern in our parent part, in the part file. In this case, we in the sketch pattern we will need sketch to follow the instances or to guide the instances in the part file.
The screen is not showing.
My screen is not visible.
Yes, sir.
Now
Now visible, sir.
okay. So in the sketch pattern case, we will need sketch in our part file. So what I have created here is, I have this one hole and I have created small curve here to explain you the example. You can have any type of sketch and you have to plot the points on the curve, so the number of instances will be equal to the point you plot, and the distance will be the distance between the points you plot. So you have to constrain all the points. You can see we now have 4 points. Let me exit the sketch, save this file and exit from the part. Now by clicking yes, go to assembly. Now you can see the sketch is visible here. So go to the sketch driven pattern. In this case, select the sketch and select the components to pattern. Now you can see the preview where we have dropped the point. It has followed that case. So you can see we have now patterned this cylindrical block, but we didn't pattern the hollow cylinder, hollow hole here. It is just for example to show you. Okay, so in this case we only have pattern the cylindrical block.
Is the all components are individually constrained, sir?
Sorry,
Like we can move individual components when we pattern these items.
actually they follow the case. So suppose we have our fully defined first component, so these all will be all automatically fully defined. Now in this case you can see it is slightly down in the position because in the local sketch pattern we have component origin selected, because so that's why it has pattern using the origin of cylindrical blocks. So when I select the bounding box, you can it will be using a bounding box. Now you can see it will create an imaginary bounding box along the cylinder, and the center will be located at this point. And the third case is the selected point. Now we have choice here to select the point on the cylinder. Now let's say I select this bottom point. You can see it will pattern using the bottom point. Okay. when the first part is fully constrained, it will be automatically constrain all the components of it. Now let's see the next type, that is curve driven component pattern. Okay, now for that curve driven component pattern, we do not need to plot the points. Actually, we just need the sketch. So I have deleted all the points and just kept the sketch. Okay, so now saving this and coming back to the assembly, so you can see it is giving me warnings because I have deleted those points. Okay, now go to the curve driven pattern and select the curve in this case and select the components to pattern in this. So we now have the number of instances here, let's say 5, and the distance here, let's say 30, 80. So you can see we have 5 instances at a 80 mm distance following that curve and at the same level at the same position. Okay, so rather than using the sketch driven pattern, we mostly use the curve driven pattern. Okay, so you now try those both sketch driven and curve driven. I will wait till 9:14, let's say 9:15. Okay, Have you tried, guys? Does anyone want to have access to my system and try solving the using curve pattern and sketch pattern? Anyone? Okay, no one. Now let's see the move component and rotate component here. Now you can see you can move easily using the mouse cursor by dragging it, but you cannot rotate it in the assembly. So to move and rotate, we have these options here. First we'll see the rotate component here. So in this case, when we activate the rotate component, we can rotate it using our mouse drag. Okay. Now similar with the move, we have our free drag option here. So free drag, why it is not working? Yes, free drag will move it freely anywhere if it is not constrained. If it is constrained, then we cannot move it using move component. Okay. Now in the free drag, in the move component, we have options here like collision detection, physical dynamic clearances. So now let's see one by one. Okay, now let's see. We click on the collision detection and we click the stop at collision option, and we go to this, and you can see when we collide both the parts, second part gets highlight and the movement is getting stopped at the collision point. You can see it is getting stopped at the collision point. So this is the benefit of the move tool, that we have collision detection here. Okay, now let's see the dynamic clearance here. In the dynamic clearance, you have to select both the components and click the resume drag. You can see clearance in them as we are moving them with respect to each other. This is the dynamic clearance and move component tool. I'll explain it to you again so that it will be more clear. So now let's see, we can drag our part using the mouse drag, but we cannot rotate it easily using our mouse drag. So we have our options, move components and rotate components. For that, firstly we will see the rotate component. In the rotate component, when we click on the rotate, you can see we can easily rotate it using the mouse. Now in the move component, we have three options: standard drag, collision detection, and physical dynamics. In the standard drags, you can move it using the mouse drag like this. And in the collision detection, we have these options: stop at collision, like that. And when we drag it and it is getting collided with the other part, so you can see the other part gets highlighted and the movement stop at that point. The next option is of dynamic clearance. In the dynamic clearance, we have to select which part we want to check the clearance between that. So we select both the parts and click on the resume drag. And as we drag, we have our distance between them, the shortest distance between them, to check that. And as we collide in that, you see the part gets highlighted and the movement stops. So this is the dynamic clearance. In this dynamic clearance, we have currently say 260.21 mm distance. Okay, so this is the move component and rotate component option here. Okay. So anyone has any doubt in this? Anyone? Okay. Now we will see the smart fastener feature here. Okay. So in the smart fastener, let me create an example for smart fastener. Actually, I have to create all new assembly here. Let's create a new part. Now let's create a hole using a standard hole type. Counter bore for the hex socket head of size M10. And let me add a distance to it. Sorry. So I have my counter bore hole here. Now I will create a different type of hole for each condition here. Okay. So now let's have second type of hole here. So as you guys can see, we have created 4 different types of holes here. Now let me tell you the short introduction of these holes. So first type of hole is counter bored hole. This second type of hole is counter sunk hole. This type of hole is clearance hole. This is tapped hole. It will be having threads inside. Okay. And this clearance hole will be having clearance, some clearance in that, so that we can fit the bolt in that of M10 size. Okay. Now let's save this and create a other part. So let's again create a holes on the second plate. Selected type is a straight tap. So I am creating a tap hole center at the center point. Okay, so this tap hole is at center. Now I am creating again tap hole at one tap hole and one clearance hole. Okay, so for the counter bore, let's create a tap hole again. So the counter bore is at 100 mm distance. Okay. Now for the counter sunk hole, we will create a clearance hole of size M10. It is at 30 mm distance from this hole. So when I will assemble this, you will fully understand the concept behind these holes. So now let's insert those parts one by one in the assembly. So in the first base part, I inserted the plate, and as the second part, I have my plate part number 6. So I have to make coincident this face and this face like this. And I will select this hole and this hole and make them concentric. Okay. Now also I need one more constraint, so I will select this and this to make them concentric. Now suppose case temporary case like this, where we have holes, we have this counter bore here, we have tapping hole here, we have counter sunk here, we have clearance hole here, we have clearance here, we have tap here, we have tap here, and we have nothing there. Okay, so the smart fastener feature is the automatic feature. It is a smart features. When you select a hole in the assembly or body, it will automatically add the nut, bolt, and a hardware in that hole. So now let's enable the smart feature. Okay, let, yeah, little bit. Okay, click on the OK. So when you select the hole, let's say this, and click on OK, you can see it has automatically added a bolt, and you can see it is passing through the other end also. And you have options here like auto size, auto update length, top stack. We have washer option here. We have bottom stack washer and all. We have nut option here. We have size option here. We have length option here. We can change its length. You can see we have increased from 25 to 30. We have thread length option here. We have thread display option here, like that. Okay. So now let's click in the second hole. This. Click on the second hole and add. You can see it will automatically select the hardware of that type in this hole, and you can see again you can change the length of it, its width, sorry, its size, its washers, its nut and bolt from this drop down menu. Okay, now again for the next type, when you select the hole and want to add, it will add a fastener to it. You can change the type of fastener from here. Change fastener type, and you can select the other type also. Let's say you want this hex screw grade. So when we select the hex screw grade, it has selected a hex screw grade. But in this case, the group 1 was selected. Let me select the group 3. Now let's say I have group 3 selected, and I want to change the type, and I have selected screw grade AB. Now you can see we have changed our bolt type. When you click on OK, it will finish. So the smart fastener usually does that. It adds the nuts and bolts to the your predefined hole, but for that you must have to create a hole using hole command. Okay. Now you have 5 minutes to try the smart fastener and all the options. Till then, if anyone has doubts, he or she can ask it.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in smart fasteners, you said that we can choose dimensions and type of fasteners according to our wish, no, sir.
Yes.
So those options which are displayed will be only like those which can go into the doors, because we cannot choose any. Simply, we cannot choose any nut, any bolt, any size, no, sir.
Actually, it will automatically add the components which best suits according to your design type, the condition there, and the dimension of your hole. But let's say it is a system, it can make mistake. Let's say your hole is of 10 diameter and it mistakenly selected the bolt that is of 12 diameter. So they have extra features so that you can make the 12 diameter bolt to the 10 diameter. Okay. In the most of the cases, it will be selecting the dimension that is accurate, but in the type of length, you have to select the length according to your choice. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, it shows when I click smart fasteners, it shows requires SolidWorks toolbox something which is not
Okay.
present.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
What
Okay.
this
Okay.
is.
Uh, are you seeing my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So guys, give attention to that. For a toolbox, for a smart features, you need a toolbox as you haven't activated the toolbox. So you see this option here in the design library, the second option, click on that and you will see the toolbox option here. And when you click on the toolbox, there will be add in option here. So click on add in and click OK. So it will open your smart fasteners option. Okay, the toolbox is basically they have the box, an imaginary box where they have kept all the hardware, all the bolts, all the bearings, all the washer, all the gears in that box. We'll see gears, bearings, and all the types in our tomorrow session. So now concentrate on this smart fasteners. And after that, we'll be having our evaluate tab. So have you tried guys? Any doubts in that case? In the smart feature, in the smart fastener, in our different type of patterns, in mates, in mirror. Okay.